let's talk about the new S650 Shelby Super Snake. We spent all day with it yesterday, all around Las Vegas area. I am blown away. I don't really know where to start. What's the main difference from a regular S650, like in terms of visual?
Okay, so visually, the only thing that's the same is this, and the front of the deck lid. Everything else we changed. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to go ultra performance. You know what's exciting is being able to do cars like this and be able to give them function and be able to give them beauty. That's what's important, you know. You see carbon fiber bits on the car, carbon fiber scoops here. We're bringing air out. We're cooling all the stuff we can in the front of it before we get into all the heat. We've evacuated everything. We went with a really nice little application under the headlight. We wanted to thin all this stuff up a little bit because we wanted to get some cooling in here. This here, now we've moved the PCM back. We've got open air. We've got new inner fender wells in the car that have vents in them so we can actually get some air through this side of the car. We're really dramatically changing the front of the car to where we can actually make it, you know what I mean, to where it's functional.
This is such a cool design element right here.
So you like this? So
yeah.
What we did on this is we've always had a fender vent on the side on the Shelby. We wanted to go a little bit farther. We wanted to pull a little bit more. Vented all the way down to here, you know, and then a little bit down here. So from here down, we just brought the design all the way down because we didn't want to end it right here. We've done that for a few years. We wanted something different. So you know what? Let's bring it all the way down. Let's tie it into the rocker. It actually sets into the rocker and then bolts in afterwards. Really exciting. So what we're trying to do is we're evacuating as much heat out of this engine compartment as possible. Not only that, we're bringing air in here. We're bringing it in, and we're evacuating it out.
These are functional vents.
Those are functional vents in the front end, yeah.
That's insane. It's just, so 3 functional vents brings air into the engine
Into the engine compartment, and then we evacuate it out. This starts a little suction right here. Not only that, we got the air coming in the front. Everything's gonna come out. We've got it blocked off back here. We actually take and block it off, use the factory block pads in the center right here. So we're bringing the air has to go in and go around. So it has to suck that air out of there. Bring as much cool air as we can.
So from my understanding, the Super Snake is not just about power. It's a balance.
Man, what you talking about,
bro? It has a lot
bro?
of power, but you have to bring the handling, stopping, pretty much everything. It's the whole package. It's everything that you guys have learned over the years, just put into one single car.
Engineered functionality is what it is. So we look at the cars when we bring them on the track. We do a lot of
yeah,
testing.
Hellcat, cool, bro.
We say, man, you know, if we just had a little bit more here, if we could just cool this off a little bit more here, or just bring a little bit more air in. I wish they had a little bigger opening, so
I prefer Mustang,
more
though.
room. We could run a bigger cooler and stuff. You know what? So we just said, you know what? Let's take everything from here forward and throw it away and start over again.
What really blew me away right away when I saw this car for the first time was the 305 squared Michelin Pilot Sport setup.
I can't lie, bro. That car hard,
setup
bro.
on a Mustang.
Yeah.
And huge, also 20-inch forged magnesium wheels.
Yes.
So lighter weight.
Yep.
Better for performance, braking, stopping, all that.
So much better. It's amazing how much it changed the car.
And then also no rubbing.
Yeah, no rubbing.
Even though it is basically 1.5 finger, 1 finger gap.
Yep.
Because you guys redesigned the wheel wells, it's so you can go full lock to lock without touching anything.
Full lock to lock, plenty of room. We gave ourselves, you can see how it dives in fast in the back right here. Dives in, gave ourselves another inch in the back. Same thing in the front. We made it to where we got plenty of room in the front. Brought this line a little farther forward. Give us a little more room.
So this one's the first one ever.
First one ever. This is it. This is number one. So,
Prototype.
Yeah.
Full on prototype, but working prototype.
Working prototype. So this is a real grill. This is the real grill. This is a real grill. This is all 3D printed. 3D printed, 3D printed, 3D printed. All this stuff.
You drove a Super Snake?
Right now. So the reason we do that, we do it for a couple of different reasons. One, we want to test function and performance. Two, we want to make sure that all our CAD is correct. So when we build the parts, we build the molds once.
It's so insane to me how much more intake area there is on this versus the stock S650 bumper. But also what blows me away is this is insane. Like for a car that you can buy from the dealership.
Yeah.
What's your favorite car then, bro?
For it to have a
nice
functional splitter.
Yeah,
That is something else. And then you have an adjustable wing.
Yeah, fully adjustable wing. So it's got two settings. Right now we're on the lowest setting right now. You go ahead and pull the bolt out. It has an adjustable. Go ahead and bring it up. So it depends if in your short track, long track, whatever you want to do. And what's really cool is we've changed the back of the car so much. We actually gave it a European look in the back. I've saved this. I wanted to do this on the 23s, 22, but I saw the new car and I went, you know what? I'm gonna save that.
It's interesting because it's almost like you continue the taillight design.
So we did. So the bottom part of the deck lid, this is all, this is all factory, but we took this line and accentuate this line here, bring it up and give it a wing. So on our GT style cars, they're gonna have a built-in wing. You know what I mean? When you look at the side, it lines up with the line in the car right here. It just lines up beautiful from the side, just gives a nice look to it. When you look at it from the back, it's an aggressive look that you have back here. But the wing isn't that aggressive. You know what I mean? It just has a nice style to it.
I just love that. I love the ducktail look, but I also love the fact that it almost looks like a double-decker.
Exactly.
It's complements this functional wing that you guys designed.
So I designed it to where, I wanted to have the design of the car, basically the way the wind comes over the car. So we redesigned the whole thing. Nice lips on the side right here, a nice little winglet that runs here. With the wide body, this thing will really come together. You know what I mean? Then
how y'all feel about a Super Snake?
How much wider is the rear versus stock?
This rear is stock right now.
Oh, this is stock.
Yeah,
okay.
this is stock
but
right
the
now.
front,
Yeah.
the front is wider.
The front is wider. Yeah, we're about an inch wider in the front on each side.
And that allows you to run the square setup.
Yeah, so what we want to do is we didn't want to have the problem where you run a 305 in the front and everything is kind of sticking out. It's not exactly right, you know what I mean? Some of the factory cars, when they run the 305s on the factory fenders, they're having to add a little lip on here and stuff like that. We didn't want to have that problem. So we decided just to go ahead and redesign the front end. And then that way it allowed us to change a few things. Instead of having a brake line down here, we moved it up a little bit higher, be able to lighten the fenders up a little bit, bring things back a little bit more. So we added made our own line basically.
This is carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
This is aluminum.
Aluminum. Yeah, this is going to be an OE style plastics, all this stuff here, lightweight, try to make everything as light as possible. So when we're adding the supercharger on the car, we realize how much weight we're adding to the car. We got to take weight off. So if we can take and change these components to eliminate some weight, we're trying to get back to where the factory weight is, you know what I mean, with the supercharger. We can never get there, because it's a lot of weight we're adding on. But if we can make it better, you know what I mean? It just helps so much.
So then let's talk about the base car. What is the base car that you start from Ford? Is it a running functional car?
Yes. So we have a special code that we give to Ford, and they go ahead and build a base model car for us that comes offline. So when that car comes here, we take everything off. Full suspension off, brakes off, exhaust system's gone, rear diffuser, back of the deck lid, hood, all the engine components, top end engine components are gone, full interior swap on the inside, all the grills, everything like that. So everybody goes, what do you do, just throw that stuff away? What we try to do is we try to sell that stuff. You know, we have companies that buy that stuff from us to kind of offset the price. We know that, you know, some of these cars get kind of expensive. They're not expensive because we want to make a lot of money. It's because we want to give you the components to make a really cool car. So it costs a little more to build, but yet you're getting the quality. There's kind of a balance there. So the parts that we take off the car, we use that to kind of help offset us. You know what I mean, as far as cost.
It's so interesting to me that you guys start with a running driving car
Mm-hmm.
versus like a complete body on white, because then that would be something completely different,
That would be something completely different.
right?
Yeah.
Versus this is still in essence a Mustang.
Exactly. Compliance, basically. So we can comply with everything. You know, we have to have it. We have to have, this is an everyday, daily driver. This car here, you start it up, you let it idle in the driveway all day long, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You take it and drive it, you know, performance-wise, it doesn't matter, it likes it. So it's just finding a good balance. So the only way we can do that is to start with a factory.
So you wear a lot of hats here at Shelby, and you've been here for how many years?
22 years.
So then what are some of the things that you do here? It's almost like you go to every single one of these stations and you have some input somehow.
Yes.
So you're designing.
Yeah, senior designer, head of R&D, chief test driver. And then I'm also the vice president of the company.
Of course you are.
So, and you know what? It's kind of cool because you're able to start at the beginning and work your way all the way through. So when we sell a product, we know what it is. Gary Patterson, our president, he's with me all the time, all the way through all this. We know what we're selling. We're passionate about what we sell because we drive it, we test it. You know what I mean? We know what we got. So it's funny, you know. When there's a tour going through, I'll be out here in the afternoon is where I'm working on cars. In the morning, I'm up in the front. There'll be a tour, and I'll stop by and say hi to everybody, and they're going like, "Oh, who's this guy, mechanic or something?" And then they let them know who I am, you know. And it's just
He's
like,
the vice president that just can't say hi with
and,
us.
and they're going like, "Thank you so much for coming and talking to us." But you know what? That's how Shelby is. We're a family, and I want to be able to have anybody come up and approach me and talk to me like we're talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's important to us.
What's going on here? This
Okay.
is all different.
Yeah, so this is all new. One of the problems that we saw is we weren't getting enough air through the diff cooler in the back. So we redesigned it to where all the diff cooler air comes through, and we vented everything nice. We're bringing air out underneath the back of the car now. We're changing everything to where we're pulling as much as we can through here. So the factory belly pan actually brings more air out, helps with stabilization, and we're also getting better cooling in the back. Then we got these huge Borla exhaust system that comes out, which actually sounds pretty nice. I'm sure you heard it.
Yeah. So then the exhaust is it's variable, or it has
variable.
different modes. So when you floor it, that's when it opens up.
Actually, well, we you can set it that way, or you can just leave it open. So the neat thing about the reason we go with Borla and some of the neat things about it is back in 2010, we wanted to have a certain tone and a certain sound. So we sent in some of the early tapes of the early 350s racing on the track, and we asked Borla, is there any way you could get as close to this as possible? Because we want that sound. So when you hear a Shelby and you hear a standard Mustang, it's two different notes. So you can always hear that Shelby start up because we have a little different note than everybody else, and Borla always builds our cars and our trucks to that sound. So
Like
there's
there,
one
like
now.
there, there's one right now. Let's take a look under the hood.
Yeah.
So this is really neat. Very, very race car like. And I love that this is from a stock vehicle.
Yes. So we wanted to put those in because just as a safety aspect, and it's a nice visual cue. We do them a little bit different, you know. They look a little more mechanical than the factory ones, but we tried to use factory spacing and those kind of things. So when we're setting up the car, we're looking at it. We figure out where we want to attach them, and then after we figure out where we want to attach them, then we figure out where we're going to put them in the hood.
This
you
is
know?
so neat. So
Yeah.
full Shelby hood. You can't get this anywhere else. You can't
Yeah.
just buy this
No.
for your S650. You have to get a Super Snake to get this hood.
Yeah, so you know what? That's an important thing, that really cool thing you said right there. When people buy a Shelby Super Snake, you can't just go, somebody else can't just come in and buy parts and build themselves a Super Snake. We want you, when you get your car, to know that, nobody else can buy your parts. You can't build a clone. Carol used to do that a long time ago. He used to sell every single part. You can build whatever car. A lot of people go, why don't you do that? Well, because this person here spent, a very good amount of money to buy this car. Why would I allow somebody else to build a car that was exactly the same? You know what I mean? For less money. It's just not fair to this. We want the value of these cars to hold. So when you embargo parts, there's a couple parts you can get, but when you embargo parts, then, the value stays there. Is there a lot of other companies that are going to knock this hood off? Oh yeah, they're probably already starting to work on it, But you know what? It won't be like our hood. It's our own design. Everything's patented that we build. We have right now, I think we got like 30 patents on parts, that we have out there.
Just for this car, or
For all the Super Snakes, all the way through, wide bodies, everything like that. We patent all that stuff.
So then, what is different from the stock vehicle that comes to
So
you from Ford?
Whipple supercharger. We do a new intake system. We go ahead and we do new injectors. We do a new tune. We do caster camber plates. So we set up everything inside here. We do a larger radiator. We have the intercooler. We have a different heat exchanger that you can put in them. A lot of performance stuff that goes into this. So right now, this car here, we're still finalizing just a couple things. Well, when we get the tune exactly where we want it, it's always when you first bring the first car out, you get it, you're happy with it, and then you want more. And that was Carol's thing.
So then, you personally, being the test driver, you must have, I don't know how many development hours behind driving this.
Yes.
On the roads in Las Vegas, in the cold and also in the scorching Las Vegas heat, making sure that this doesn't overheat, even though you're making way more than stock horsepower.
Exactly.
So then, how much more power to the wheels do you think?
Well, right now we're close to we're 800. We're close to 800 horsepower. That's all I'm going to say right now. Okay.
But it's 800 plus.
Yeah, yeah, 800 plus. So till we get everything, and that's one thing we try to keep our numbers underneath what we make. Okay, because if I tell you it makes 800 horsepower and you take it to a dyno shop, he's going to hold back about 30 horsepower anyway. You know what I mean? So when he holds back that 30 and you still run 800, and he's like, oh dang, I can't sell you anything. But when you run it at right at 800, we'll say, and you claim 800, it could be a Wednesday car, is what we call them. You know what I mean? It might only have 780 or 790 or something. Now you're going to come back to me and you go, I only got 790. You told me it's going to be 800. Every car's like that. There's not a magic number that every single car runs exactly the same. They're all different, and people have to realize that.
But the cool thing to me is that this is built in Las Vegas,
Mhm.
developed in Las Vegas. I mean, you guys have your own dyno here. You do everything, designed, all of it here at Shelby American in Las Vegas.
And it's 50 state legal.
That is perfect for us Californians. Yeah, that is awesome.
You take it to California, you can go ahead and you can smog this baby.
That is so cool.
I mean,
love that.
It's funny. It's funny because we talk to, like I say, we go to the wall and we talk to people. If anybody hasn't been here before, we have a tour that goes through the main shop, and you can stand at the wall and look in the main shop. People say like, oh, a buddy of mine, he makes 900 horse with that. And that's easy. We can make, we make 1,400 horsepower. It doesn't matter. Make it legal. That's what matters. You know what I mean? Make a car that you can buy 50 states. You can smog it, everything like that, and it's got the 800 horsepower.
Mm.
So that's our CSM number. Every single car comes with a CSM number. So this one here is a prototype car. So what we'll do on these, so you see the P at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do on these is we'll go ahead and register these. So every one of these cars goes into the registry, and that's what really gives a Shelby its value, basically. So it's in a registry, so they know. You can go into the registry and you can see who owned the car, what maintenance was done on the car, if the car had ever been in an accident, how many owners were on the car, you know what I mean? And you can see the price of what the car sold for, so you can kind of gauge yourself, you know what I mean? Is this a car that I really want? You know, not only that, when it has the CSM number, you can take a regular Mustang. You spend $60,000, we'll say, you drive it off the lot, it's a $40,000 car. You drive a Shelby with a CSM number, we'll say $100,000 car. When you drive it off the lot, it's still a $100,000 car. You know,
And then
so
maybe more later on.
Maybe more later on, exactly. So there's always a value in there. So that's why, and that's why when we build these cars, we want to engineer as much as possible in the car, because I want you to be able to give this to your kids. I want your grandkids to have this car. That's what's important to us, and that's the way Carol kind of taught us, you know, years ago.
And that brings me to a question. What was it like working with Carol? So I was lucky to be around to photograph him a couple times, but I never had a chance to work with him one-on-one. And you were here probably for about 10 years with him.
Yeah.
So what was it like working with him?
He was awesome. He was a cool guy. So Carol was the kind of guy that would give you tests, basically. You know what I mean? To see what you knew and stuff. He knew a lot. He was wild. He could meet somebody and 5 years later meet the guy and say, "Hey Bob, how you been?" You know, and I'm just going like, you know, I meet somebody, I forget their name in 2 minutes. You know, I'm that guy. I'll admit that. Carol wasn't that guy, and he'd take his time and talk to you. You know what I mean? And he would come in every morning to the design studio. We would sit down. We'd talk about where we're going to go with the car, what his vision was, what we were going to do. You know what I mean? And that was just so much fun, so cool. He'd call me every morning. You know, "Hey Vince, how we doing today?" You know, you know, "We gonna go to the track?" I'm going, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the track about 10. Okay, don't go without me." You know, he's that guy. You wanted to go to the track and see what kind of performance was on the cars. And then, you know what? He'd call me every night and say, "Vince, I just want to say thank you for what you do, and I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow." And when you got somebody like that has that much gratitude, and there's no way you're not going to give 110% of passion back to the company, you know. And he was just a neat guy. He'd call with all kinds of things, you know. He loved talking about cars. He loved talking about the next car. He loved talking about new things. It got to a point where, you know, the Cobras and stuff like that was old news. He was, you know, I'm past that, guys. Let's go to something new. Some of the guys that talk to him about Cobras, and he'd kind of back off a little bit. You talk to him about the new cars, and he's all over you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he would be super proud to see something like this.
Oh, he would be. You know, it's neat when you see him with some of the new stuff that we did when he was alive, and how proud he was, the way he stood, you know what I mean, with that big Texas grin, you know. And he was excited. He was, you know, truly excited, you know, building new cars, and that we could come up with something that people would enjoy. That was the main thing.
All right, Vince, let's talk about the interior. There's just so much to talk about. One question is, can I take this plastic off?
Yeah, you can pull it off to look at it, yeah.
All right. Like, this is like an ASMR part. So then this is one of the things that you guys change.
Yeah, so what we did is we changed the font. So for this year, we went with a different snake, different font. We went a little more aggressive. So
But-
when you open the door,
Oh, it also has a
yeah, you
like
can
one
also
of
when
those.
you open the door, you see the snake on the side right there.
Right.
Very aggressive. We wanted this year just to be a little more aggressive, a little different font. You know what I mean? These are new style cars, so let's go ahead and change this up. You know, every few years we want to change it up. So I think this is a nice way to go. You'll see the seats. We use a really nice leather. They're all leather interior. Front seat, back seat matches. We do you see the nice line that we bring down inside here? And then the center kind of mocks like a snake skin in the center right here. And we use the Alcantara on the inside and then smooth leather on the outside. The neat part about it is it holds you so well. These seats hold really well.
Yeah, because this adds a lot of grip.
A lot of grip.
To when you're back.
Yeah.
So then, is this a stock seat that you guys take apart to modify?
Yeah. So every one of our cars, we take the stock seat covers off, and then we just redo them with the new Shelby covers.
Mm.
So that, and then I have them in the back, but I have the what would be the Shelby floor mats that go in there. Things like, we needed a place to put the CSM badge. So we make a holder that starts all the way over here and goes all the way over, the right color, everything like that kind of ties in with the dash, gives a nice little look to the dash. Just little accents to kind of help it out. With the CSM number right there on it for everybody to see. We'll use the Shelby shift ball on it. So, not a lot of stuff on the interior, but the stuff that needed to be done just to kind of, step it up a little bit, make it a little cleaner, give you that nice, more of a performance feel in the seat, and then tie it in with the Shelby name.
And then, since we're down here anyways, we could talk about this little design element that you incorporated into the rocker.
So bringing this hard line down, nice and hard like that, you'll see, your guys will see when you see some of the far pictures of it, how it really accentuates the bottom of the car and really changes the design of this quarter panel. Really kind of sharpens it out a little bit, takes it away from kind of a dull transition.
Well, what's cool to me is something like this, it really does look OEM.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like something out of the Ford factory, but you designed it here in Las Vegas. So was this all designed in CAD or 3D, or like how did you design this, or did you do some of it by hand? What was
so this car here, a lot of this car here is rendered. So I have a great render guy. So we'll sit down and I'll say, we want to do this, I want to do this, I want to move this, and we just start rendering the car and we come up with a design. Through the years, when we're doing the cars, I kind of hold elements, you know what I mean, in my mind that I want to use, and it's like collecting a bunch of parts and then building the car at the end. And that's kind of what I do. I visualize things real easy, so I'll kind of visualize where I want to go, and then we'll get it close. Now I got a bunch of CAD guys that I work with that'll help us out. You know what I mean? Hey, if we sharpen this up here, do you want to do this? Would you like to sharpen that? So concept, yes. Full car, it's a group.
So then, do you still do stuff by hand, by clay?
Oh yes, yeah. So right now in the studio we have a number one, which is one of our first cars. I have it all tore down, getting ready to start foaming that one up. So we'll go ahead and we'll foam it up, and I'll carve it out, and then do the body work on it, and I'll build that one by hand, because like I say, I want to make sure that all the lines are correct and everything. The only way to really do that is in studio. So I still like doing a lot of the old school stuff. It depends on what part we're building, hoods, stuff like that. I like to do them. I like to do them old school. I like to use my hands. I like to make sure that the shadows are correct. I want it to look like an OE part. So it just like I say, I might make the design, I might do everything like that, but it takes a team to put it all together, and that's what this place is all about.
This comes in manual and automatic transmission.
Yes, it does,
Does the transmission get modified in any way at all?
No, we don't modify the transmissions. Most of our cars will go ahead and use what comes factory. We'll change the shifters, you know what I mean, in the manual transmission, change the ball, those kind of things. And then on the automatics, we don't really do anything on the automatic. The only thing we'll do with the automatic, if you want a little more performance, we'll actually put a transmission cooler or something like that in there for you.
Well, let's check out your studio right now.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
What are these two cars doing here?
So these cars here, these are going to be the other two prototypes. Basically, that's going to be my track car up there, the white one. So that'll be the one where, now that we've already developed basically what we're going to use as far as factory parts, now we go over and above factory parts. Now we're going to do things to where, we'll run, bigger fans, bigger heat exchangers, those kind of things. We'll run bigger tanks, different suspensions. Eventually, I'll probably change this over to a coilover car, things like that. So for the guy that wants just a little bit more, we'll go ahead and do that.
When you say track car, you mean beyond what the Super Snake is?
Yes. Yeah, Super Snake Plus.
God.
You know what I mean? So every year we come up with more, more options, more things you can add on the car. A lot of guys want a little bit more. They want better cooling. They want better suspension, those kind of things. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to add that. If you look at the stock car, so we've already got the supercharger on this car here. It's already started. We've already got the suspension on this car here. We've already got the larger brakes. One thing that Ford did that we're gonna change is I wanted to be able to balance out the front end on the car. I wanted to be able to have a cooler on that side and a cooler on this side. With the new double snout front end, where the PCM used to sit was right inside here. Now we don't have that option anymore, so we went ahead and put the PCM down here. Now the way they got the PCM right here mounted, there's no way for me to run any coolers or anything because the front end, the front end is right here. So we decided to go ahead and take the PCM, relocate the PCM, do a different style windshield washer bottle and everything. And I can show you on this car over here.
Yeah, so where does the windshield wiper bottle go now?
So now the bottle goes behind it. So we got it behind it. We got a smaller bottle behind here. I don't have the lid on it right now. It's just set in there right now. But this is where the bottle. You do get a smaller bottle, but what you get out of it is a lot more performance. So you got to fill your bottle up a little bit more, but you got a lot more performance. These are just some wire. We're finishing the wiring. So we took the PCM that used to mount right here, that used to block everything off, swung it around, stuck it in here, got it in here nice and tight. We have a cover that goes over it and then covers over the back of it for water management. We opened up the inner fender wells, the new inner fender wells we made, and then we vented the inner fender wells. So now we can either put a smaller trans cooler in here, or we can put a larger cooler right inside here, and we still got a lot of air running through there. So now we've balanced out the front end to where we can actually have cooling on both sides.
I noticed this one is a convertible, so there's going to be a Super Snake convertible.
Super Snake convertible, yeah. So when we redesigned the deck lid, you can see how the factory deck lids are. This is the piece that we changed right here. So the factory deck lid is, level, can't really do anything with it. They do have wings that they put on them. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go into the plastic. So that's why we redesigned it. So even for the convertible, we had to redesign it. And it was funny because we had to run a third brake light. And I didn't want to not use a rear brake light. So what I do is I take this third brake light and actually turn it upside down and run it in upside down. And then that gives it the perfect arc and everything to run across the back of the car. The only thing is when people look at it, they're going to see that the letters are upside down, but you may not want to get that close.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that way we can still use all the OE parts and everything, and reconstruct it to where it has the Euro wing on the back right here. So it's kind of fun, things like that. So that's the CAD guys that I use are very good at that, and we'll work through things all the way through. You know what I mean? They'll have little things. They get mad at me because I'm going like, I need to move that down like 1/8 of an inch, and I need to twist that a little tiny bit right there. And they're going like, well, we just finished all this other stuff. It's just like, just do it that way. So anyway, we do it and we come up with something really cool, But like I say, it takes everybody to come up with these things. So this is a magnesium rim. I want you just to grab that with one hand and tell me what you think.
Oh my God, this is a 20.
That's a 20.
And 20 by
20 by 11.
That's huge. So then the 305s, Michelin.
305s, we got these babies all the way around on it. I mean, that just, it's absolutely nothing.
Are you going to sell these separately?
No.
Exclusive to the Super Snake.
Exclusive to Super Snake, yes. So maybe in a year, maybe 2 years, we might open it up, you know. So where we are right now, this is kind of the design studio heart. So you can see, you know, all my prototype stuff. So when I get hoods, right now I'm figuring out exactly to make sure that we got the lips correctly. You know what I mean? So these are kind of some of the things. The first hoods, we'll go ahead and we're doing incremental on here. So I know how much higher or lower I have to go with it, so I get it to fit perfect. So then I'll send all this back to the factory. That way we can get it fit exactly the way we want it.
But this is a fully one-piece stamped aluminum.
Yeah, all aluminum.
Piece.
Super lightweight hood. So we're trying to take as much weight off of these cars as possible. So this is this car here. So you can see this is a 3D printed front fascia.
Oh.
So this is the early front fascia that we're doing right now. So what we do is we 3D print them, and then we can go ahead and we can see exactly how it's going to work. You know, you can see how much different the front end is than the factory front end.
Whoa.
See how much different? I mean, it's totally changed completely.
So
It's not even
it picks
close
up
to
a
what-
lot higher. It's a
Yeah.
lot wider. How much wider
Yeah.
is it?
So we're about 1.5 inches wider is where we are. You know, it depends on where exactly we are on the on the fender itself. But we made it proportional to where it comes out. You know what I mean? Gives it to where we could put our 305s inside there. We wanted to have enough room. We wanted to have enough tire coverage on the inside. When we go out to the car, it's kind of neat to see them this way, because when you go out to the car, you'll be able to see exactly the reasoning and everything that went behind the way we do it.
I absolutely love the fact that Shelby, while it's such a big name synonymous for performance, it still has that old hot rod shop feel.
Exactly.
Like, you guys are still doing little things, like little hot rod, little aftermarket performance things.
Yeah.
But you have the OEM backing, OEM quality and feel, but you're still hot rodding.
Yeah.
In its essence.
Yeah, it is, and
Yeah.
and that's what's fun. You know, it's so cool to work for a place like Shelby, because we're able to do things that the other big OE manufacturers can't do. You know what I mean? We have an idea. Heck, 2 weeks later, we got it out on the track. We're
Right.
testing it here.
You're
we're
prototyping,
Yeah,
like-
we're prototyping.
Did you actually have this fit on the car while you guys were prototyping this?
Actually, the car that you're going to see outside has this front end on it. It has a 3D printed front end on it. Because that's what we use, you know what I mean, for prototyping. We want to make sure everything works. You know, and it's so much smarter to make this first, make sure everything works, you know what I mean, and then go into production. So just a lot of neat things. You can see where we bring massive air through everywhere. So it's just we try to do over and above. Now this car here, so where its next life will be, it started out as our track vehicle. So this is the car that we use for all of our baseline, see how the brakes work, see how the suspension works. We get all our data set off on this one here. Now, whatever we do to the new car, we can take and lay that data over the top. We can see if we're going better, we're going worse. Is it running cooler? Do we ruin the brakes? Do we make the brakes better? You know, how's the suspension? So it gives us something to compare off of.
Right, because you always want to have a baseline. While this was a great performance car to begin with,
Yes.
you just want to make it that much better.
Exactly.
That much better.
We have to know what points, where are we starting? This is what we're starting with. This is where we want to go. Let's work together and try to figure out where we want to be. We get together with a lot of smart people, you know. I always tell everybody, I says, I don't know everything and I don't profess to know everything. But you know what? I can find that guy that knows that, and that's the guy that I like to work with.
So then how early are you able to get these chassis, even if it's like a prototype from Ford, to start your development for the vehicles
It
that you guys
depends.
are doing?
Most of the time, the year before. You know what I mean? We've had this one here for well over a year, so we've had it for a while. And then the next thing is going to be is now we go into development of the new wide body car. So this will be the development car for the wide body car. The reason I do them in the studio here is, if you can see these lights, they move back and forth in these channels right here. I like to build off a shadow. So when I do a new design on a quarter panel, this is what I want to see. I want to see this shadow right here. I want to see the shadow that's underneath. So I'll turn the lights off on this side, leave the lights on that side, and I'll work off the shadow line. That way I can get everything exactly to where it looks like an OE car. When you bring a car outside, there's one point of light, basically the sun. So we want to be able to replicate that. By having lights on both sides, that doesn't help me. By having lights on one side of the studio, the other side of the studio, we're able to work off that bottom line. And the bottom line is what makes the car look so good. So it's just, it's one of those things I like building by hand, things like the wide bodies and stuff, just so our goal is, if you look at one of the Shelby wide bodies and you look at a standard, one of the standard cars, you set them back to back and look at the side of them, they both look exactly the same. It isn't in your face, it's more of a factory look is what we're trying to go for. And when you walk around the back, then you see the difference. The reason we started doing that, we started doing cars, you know, that are over 1,000 horsepower. You know, we have to get that power to the ground. So instead of, you know, using different compound tires, all that kind of stuff, you know, jacking it up, and I don't like a added on flare or anything like that. We want it to look factory. We put the new quarter panel on, then we can go ahead and we can run, you know, 13-inch wide tire on there and get the power to the ground. So these are the kind of things that we look at. Shelby's a custom shop, but we want to look like an OE shop. You know, so that's exciting. It's exciting for us to do that kind of stuff.
Well, thank you so much for showing me the brand new 2024 Shelby Super Snake. I can't wait to drive this. I've had a chance to drive the couple previous generation Super Snakes, and I actually had a chance to drive the Terralingua too, which honestly scared me so much because I've never driven a car where I'm in fourth gear on the 15 freeway, down Las Vegas Strip area. If you floor it in fourth gear, that thing will spin. I mean, that thing will just go all the way to red line.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has that much power down low. It's insane.
I can't wait to get you in this car.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
We have a couple of them that we're building right now that are gonna be press cars, and you're more than welcome. I want you to come back. I want to see your reaction. I want to put you in the car. Let you go run some canyons. Let you go and drive it up and down the highway. Come back and let us know how you feel.
Oh, say less. That is such a fun time. I'm sure that's going to be amazing. Next time we're in Vegas, I'm going to take you up on that offer.
You got it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Great seeing you.
Cool. Perfect.